I want to switch gears now to our next topic. If you like the video, share the video, hit the like button, follow everybody that's on the panel. Everybody's social should be, or their YouTube should be in the description. So make sure you give them a subscription. It'll make your viewing experience, your timeline, your algorithm way better, 100%. Second biggest story of the week. UMG filed its motion to dismiss this week. Now, and I think every reactor, every YouTuber went and read through this document this week. Everybody was covering this. I think we've been waiting on this for quite a while. This is, again, one of the most unexpected side quests, not even just for this battle, but in hip hop. You know, I don't think we ever thought we would see someone, a massive artist, go against a massive corporation, sue them for defamation. And UMG's motion was brutal. You know, to me, it was a scathing rebuttal. Now, I'm not a legal expert, so we'll see how the judge looks at these things. But then today, they also submitted their stay, where they revealed that Drake and his legal team wanted to see Kendrick's contracts. They wanted to see the pay structure for the CEO of Interscope. And it really does read like I'm calling the manager. It really does read, oh man, this is the most Karen thing I think anybody done seen in this genre ever. And Screwface went in. Screwface went in on this video. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. No. But this is again one of the most inane twists and turns from this battle. And ironically, we're almost a year since the day that Like That dropped, and now UMG is dropping heat. Screwface, what was your reaction?
Well, the reason why I'm so passionate about this particular thing is because I think a lot, like we're having conversations about it and we're having the jokes about it, which I'm all for. But I don't think people are really having the conversation of like the precedent that if Drake is successful would be set by this. And I think that and it goes beyond rap, it goes beyond hip hop, it just goes to freedom of speech, artistic expression. It goes to a lot of stuff. And there's people who are going like, how can you guys be going for the corporation against Drake? And I was watching Rap Latte, shout out to Green and Torre, and they made a great point where they said it's really a corporate. Actually, Justin, I think you made this point on that. So where you said it's a corporation versus a corporation, because Drake is also a corporation. And it's not about every time something is brought up, you automatically are against the corporation. You have to look at what is actually being said. And as crazy as it is, right now, UMG is the ones protecting artistic expression, not Drake. So unless you're just a Drake fan, then you got to be kind of weary of somebody engaging in a rap battle that they egged on. They also defamed somebody, and then now they're saying that should be able to give them the right to sue a corporation, and then also give them the right to be able to start seeing contracts. I just feel like that precedent is an insane one to set, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. It's not about Drake losing the battle. I was still on Drake's side after he lost the battle just for being in the battle. I wasn't like a big against that. It was the lawsuits that made me upset. I was on the op list and all that before that stuff, and I still didn't care. But it was the defamation lawsuit where I said, all right, now what you're trying to do is burn down the whole building because somebody beat you in a game, basically.
I mean, you called him hip hop's first Karen. I think that's how you labeled your video.
Yeah, I said something like that.
Is there another more Karen moment than this? I'm sorry. Like, I know there's got to be some 3D chess, right? I know there's got to be some personal vendettas that are behind some of this too. Obviously, I think, most of the voices on this panel to one degree or another, and probably everybody in the comment section and most people online clearly look at this as one of the lamest things ever. Yeah. Bare minimum, right? The floor is lame. The ceiling is way past destructive, right? But I always try to I like the intellectual challenge of putting myself in someone else's position sometimes. right? And outside, and, obviously, and I think, a lot of times the simplest answer is the truest answer. I understand that. But, intellectual challenges are fun. I can't see, I'm always trying to find the other targets that this might be a part of. Like, what else might be actually happening? Because you read Drake's defamation filing, and then we all talked about it. And then you read UMG's filing. It looks like they listened to all of us. It looks like the things that we're saying were the things that clearly rebut this, even if we didn't come from a legal standpoint. Now, they had a lot more covenants and different precedents that they referenced. They had a couple of, from business law standpoint that argued why this shouldn't even go any farther than this. But just the sheer craziness of this all, and we're a year out from like that dropping. Moni, like what do you think? Like where's your mind when you now have gone through all these legal documents, and today we got confirmation that Drake is trying to see everybody's paperwork?
When I saw that last night, I was baffled, and shout out to my girl Apsa, because she was the first one to cover it last night on stream real late. And when I was looking at the fact that he's requesting all of these different things, I think it was about 18 different bullets of items that he wanted. He wanted information about the Super Bowl. He wanted information about the Grammys. And I think a week or two ago, I discovered that the Grammys ended up editing out the part of Not Like Us in both of Kendrick's acceptance speeches. And I did a video and I'm like, did Drake contact them regarding this? Like, he had to. And then when I see one of the bullet requests is based on the Grammys, and I'm just like what are you getting from this, Drake? It's like, you were a willing participant in all of this, right? You and Kendrick have been going at it for the last decade. You guys were gonna go head up eventually, and Kendrick decided enough was enough after first person shooter. And it's like, you taunted the man, you demanded he respond, you asked why aren't you in the booth? You don't seem enthused about doing this anymore. You made Tupac told Tupac to tell Kendrick to talk about you liking young girls, and now you're screaming defamation. And I just love the fact that UMG did a Uno reverse, like, ain't this you? And they're quoting him, and they're showing, no, you were egging this on. You defamed Kendrick first. You said terrible things about his wife, about his children. But all of a sudden, you're the victim. You got the gunshots in the background. Pop, pop, pop. I'll slit your throat with a razor. But you scared of a few wop, wop, wops. Like, what are we talking about? And one of the things that bothered me the most with his initial lawsuit that he filed, and then him requesting again, is him targeting YouTubers. I don't appreciate that, because it's the simple fact that you only targeted Black content creators. You didn't mention Fantano. Sorry to use you as an example, but you guys have history with each other. You got millions of views, but he didn't mention Fantano. Not that Fantano needed to be mentioned. Nobody should be mentioned. There should be no lawsuit. But the fact that you singled the Black content creators out, knowing the history of the courts and Black people, you're putting their livelihoods at stake, asking to see records, probably Google AdSense, I don't know. But it's just all disgusting to me. And I feel like he is trying to burn hip hop down to the ground because he didn't get his way this one time. He got his way with Meek Mill. He got his way with Pusha T. And when UMG said, this is the superstar, this is Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, you gonna prove that you're a problem. Step into the street, let's scrap. And when they said, we're not protecting you this time, he turned into hip hop's first Karen, like Snoopy said. And it's just disgusting.
I see you nodding. Excuse me. I see you nodding in agreement, Omar. What's your take on this? Actually, I don't think we really talked about what you think about all, like, this particular part of it.
Yeah, man. It's the pure audacity to think that you can bring your ass into a culture that's been here way before you and be here way after you and think you're going to change the rules. These motherfuckers been battling forever. Now you got your ass whooped really badly. And no, we're going to throw everything away. No, let's burn the whole house down. I've never seen, I couldn't even imagine that anything like this would ever happen, right? And when I read the UMG things, I was like, yo, this is exactly it, bro. You like dragged the man to come out. The dude was just like, yo. And then he even said, let's keep it a friendly fade, man. We ain't got to do all that stuff talking about my wife and my family. Even though you already said something about my wife on the little push-up shit, let's keep it cool. But nah, he had to go ahead and go for the gusto, same way he did with Pusha. It's just this one just ended different, man. I tell you, Drake is the biggest rapper in the streaming era. He ain't the biggest rapper to me of all time. So he doesn't have he can't dictate what we do here. And that's why they say he ain't like us. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you're going to try to come down here and try to just switch everything up. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to work personally. I don't know what he's going to get out of this. If anything, it'll be interesting to see how far this goes, though.
I mean, it's gone pretty far.
I want to see how far the trial goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I think we're waiting on now, right? What's the date? April 8th? They have until April 18th, I think, to present the information, Drake's team, or the judge signal that they might throw the case out.
27th. There's something that has to happen by the 27th, and after that, I'm not sure. That was the last thing I saw.
Did you read the documents, FD?
Nah, I just listen to y'all. I'm low-key in album mode, if that's the thing for like one of my videos.
Right.
And I've been like with Drake, the stuff it's not even frustrating. Part of me is shook, right? Because it's so dumb that like maybe we're dumb. Like this looks so stupid and so nonsensical that my paranoia anxiety says there has to be something I don't understand that's gonna be like the hook to turn the whole thing around. Because UMG was clearly studying like Murder Mook or like Snap URL with this document. Because all I heard when I was hearing clips, all I was hearing in the background was Don DeMarco, like at every like section. Because it's obvious like room shaking, crowd pleasing stuff in the document, plus again, legalese. And so I'm like, surely he predicted this, because like anybody with sense knows this stuff. So what is the 4D chess move that is there? But then I remember how the battle actually went. And I think I said this a couple of shows ago, that what this battle showed me was that Drake is a dumb jock. He's not very smart. You know what I'm saying? And like to a person with like a halfway decent level of analytical acumen, you say this lawsuit is a bad idea. But I guess if you're Drake, you really are caring, like this is what you do. So I don't know. We'll see what the eventual outcome is. Part of me, I don't know. Part of me just wishes he would stop and we could kind of run the cycle on him stopping. And then like, I am genuinely interested. Like Drake is not Kanye, right? So like, I am genuinely interested at what art looks like after this experience for an artist. I would love to see, I hope it's not some bullshit. I hope it's not some sexy songs to you, but what will Drake, the artist, do 6 to 18 months from now when all this is over to add to get back into somebody's graces? Or let's not say that. That's another thing to point out, is that he's never stopped having his core fan base, his wide fan base, etc. He's never stopped streaming at high numbers. So maybe that's another reason why he's doing this shit, because it don't matter at the end of the day anyway. I don't know, but I just know something has to give, and I don't want to get too comfortable in the reality we're in, knowing that like there has to be something else to it.
I think, from Kanye West, we just talked about Ye, and we're talking about Drake now. Listening to Ye's album, excuse me, listening to Ye's album had so much manosphere victimhood type positioning in it. And when I listen to Drake, that's what I hear too. And I've been talking about this quite a bit. Like, when we're talking about audiences, I do think there's an audience for superstars suing lawsuits. The president talks about lawsuits every day. I do think that a lot of stuff that Ye does, to a degree, does have an audience. I mean, he's talking about his kids being taken away. You know, there are certain touch points in what I see what's happening with Drake and what I see what's happening with Ye that does cross over into at least a large section of American culture at this point in time, with connections that run all the way up to the White House. And that's another thing I see when I look at this lawsuit. You know, Happy Dad shouted out, the Trump, during the Trump victory party, they shouted out Happy Dad. They thanked Happy Dad for electing Trump. Ye was up there today talking about how I put the red hat on and my life went to shit. Now everybody want to like Trump, right? So, you know, I feel like in our circles, a lot of this stuff looks really crazy, but there's a large part of me that feels like it's echoing completely differently to arguably the dominant culture right now in America, or at least the one that's in the White House.
If I could just throw something, I'm gonna send you this link. They just did a study that showed that right-wing media is like 3 times as large as its left-leaning counterpart. It's the Joe Rogans, the Happy Dad communities, these pundits, etc. Like, that is the wider population of people. And they're in a weird echo chamber, but it's a big echo chamber. Mm-hmm. And we're also in an echo chamber, but we're, I think, more aware, or at least more capable, because sometimes I think we're not aware either, but more capable of recognizing when we're in it and when we're stepping out of it. So yeah, that's an important point to point out.
We've seen some YouTubers go that route, change up.
Scott, what do you think about this? I mean, I think maybe 2 Culture Uniteds ago, you were really poignant about the impact that this administration would have and things that we would see. Do you see a parallel here?
Yeah, I mean, I would separate Ye and Drake. I mean, I think that Ye is so far gone. I mean, I think maybe he's so far gone, he would like to be able to be cool with the fascists, but I think he's too far gone for them. But I don't think Drake is. I do think that's where he's going. I do think that the Happy Dad thing makes sense, and his positioning in general. And I mean, Curtis and I talked, I think last week, we talked a little bit about this, just about the sort of the magnification of Drake and the way he's positioning himself, and like the status of being a dominant victim. Like, that's the main thing that the MAGA world loves. It's like, we are the most oppressed people on planet Earth. We have everything. We are billionaires and we pay no taxes and we don't give anything to anybody and nobody loves us, which is the problem. And what is Drake? I mean, that's what Drake is. Drake's like, nobody loves me. I don't do anything except for steal everybody's girl, and I only like my mom, and I hate everybody, and I stay alone. And I made that Tootsie Slide song, So I do.
Ye's right there with them, though. I mean, if you look at his tweets this week, he's been saying very similar things.
But Ye is actually he is overtly racist. Like, he is straight up saying the quiet part out loud. And that's the thing, is that there's nothing insidious about what Ye is doing. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. Don't support him. I don't buy his new music. I don't buy his socks. I don't buy any of that stuff. That's done. But whereas Drake is sort of like, oh, he's still a popular guy. It's still some sexy songs for you. It's still kind of this. So I think that's the fear that I have. Like, the people we need to really look out for are the people in power, and then the people who are next to them. And I think that's where Drake is.
Curtis, Omar, Fantano, you guys have anything to add to this?
I'm not sure.
Cookie recipe? No.
I'm always told I talk too damn much on this panel, so I'm trying to be a gentleman today. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think, look, I don't really know what's in the man's head. When this lawsuit was originally filed, I felt like I had maybe 2 or 3 running theories in terms of like what his
plans or motivations are, and who knows if he even really has a plan. Maybe he's just sort of like, flying by the seat of his pants and just like opting for whatever is the best choice in the moment. But as of right now, what I feel like is kind of bearing out, especially in regards to his recent requests for certain information and certain documents, is I don't know if Drake and his lawyers are like really planning on bringing this fully to court. And if they do, I feel like their only interest in doing so will be in order to sort of like make it into a spectacle that could possibly sort of like help him in some sort of way. But what I really feel like his plan and his mission is here at this point is to move to some kind of discovery process and pull from UMG some kind of documents relating to the song, relating to Kendrick, relating to streaming numbers, relating to something that he can, regardless of if it goes to the trial, it becomes public, that he can then sort of hoist up and be like, look, I was right. Look, here's the proof. Because I think at this point what he really cares about is sort of like poisoning the well and trying to turn the court of public opinion in his direction and against Kendrick. And, it may not be whatever he says about whatever documents may come out, may not be entirely true, but it just needs to be true enough in order for it to look sort of like, according to his narrative, like, oh, look, they sort of skewed the numbers in the direction of this track, when in fact what UMG probably does is like helps numerically on streaming platforms the popularity and virality of every major song and artist, including him, that they release the music of on a regular basis. But if he can at least show in his own mind and to his fans that they did it even a little tiny weensy bit for not like us, even initially out of the gate, that'll be enough in the minds of his fans to be like, oh, look, the popularity of the song is totally made up, nobody even likes it. Nobody even listens, which we all know would be total bullshit, because obviously there's millions of examples of people just organically enjoying the song and listening to it of their own volition. But, again, I feel like his goal at this point, like he said initially out of the gate with the lawsuit, he wants to paint in people's minds the idea that the popularity of this track and the relevancy of it, and Kendrick's relevancy and his success in this beef, is completely astroturfed. And I think at this point, it's probably not looking good in terms of this, like, turning into a W for him in court. So I think his best bet, his only hope, is really to sort of pull some kind of documents out of UMG, even if it reflects badly on him, even to create sort of like a mutually assured destruction situation that, will both hurt him and the label. I don't know. But I think at this point, he really wants some kind of proof that he can show to people that there's something afoot here, that he had a point all along with this lawsuit to begin with, regardless of whether or not it goes to court.
I mean, that's the thing that I think would be really easy for him to prove, right? If UMG is nefarious, which I tend to believe all these labels are. I'm not over here saying that I don't think that there's a broader problem with the artist major label relationship, but I feel like Drake could just pull out his own numbers. He can pull out he has his own data. He has his own legal documents. And, for the veneer that this is about someone other than himself, that'd be a pretty effective way to, at least to your point, Fantano, help steer public opinion. But, we ain't seen him do that. Curtis, what are you talking about?
Drake is not Phil Jackson. Drake is not running the triangle offense. He don't. That man is stupid. I don't call people stupid often. He's stupid. Because my thing is this: how can you prove the shit that you trying to prove without telling on your dumb ass self?
Mm-hmm.
I know Kendrick got a different contract because I seen it. That's illegal. Okay, I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Can I have it?
Can't you know what? Discovery mode. I know it because I can't tell about that. All I do know is that follow me. It really feels like inside that legal team there's a bunch of nose beers happening, because I don't understand what is going on in this situation that makes you logically think this is the route to go. Here's the thing about it. FD, I'm with you, bro. That line of thinking of, am I like so smart about this that I'm being stupid? Like, is he like really like playing? Like, I thought that same thing, bro. And I said, you know what? No, it's Drake. And I thought to myself, I said, wait a minute. Could he be playing the same game that Prince did with Warner Brothers, where he gave them a dud album, and after he gave them a dud album, he was like one of the first artists to be able to be in that system, then go independent, and then sell multi-platinum independently from his website, like very early on direct to consumer? No, because my thing is this: we're living in a different environment where if UMG is nefarious as what they're saying, if they're nefarious is what they're saying, if you believe that, all of that, right? And I tend to believe that in a lot of stories about them. What makes you think they're going to let you go scot-free after suing them in your independence? If you win, that'll be your last win dealing with them folks. If you lose, that's the beginning of your losing. You should have never made this a situation. I think somebody else said, you know, business partners sue all the time, right? That's just the culture of it. The fact that you made it a press release, the fact that you're making it a show, the fact that even though people want to say that UMG is putting on a show, no. The moment that his PR sends a press release out into the TMZs, it is now a show. So this is actually, it's playing out the same way as Kendrick and Drake. He started it, and now UMG's responding. So the way I'm looking at this situation is he is not Phil Jackson. He is not Tex Warner at all.
Do you remember the Grammys? Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing that stood out to me in the lawsuit was that he said every time Not Like Us played, it took away a chance for his songs to be played. And I just like, how self-centered are you that you feel like I'm so much better than you? You should never play Kendrick Lamar. You should be playing my song. That just stood out to me. That was crazy.
He also said whenever Not Like Us plays, an angel loses its wings,
Yeah.
and a kitten dies. 1 second applause. Which is also, I think UMG needs to be taken to court for that too.
I mean, there was a lot of funny stuff in those filings. A lot of funny stuff in there. You were about to say something, Scott.
Well, do you remember in the Grammys when Lucien Grange and Dr. Dre did a high five? I feel like every single time something happens with this lawsuit, they just like drive over to each other's house and just give each other a high five, because it's like every time people listen to the song more, it's like he released that album and like, I guess some people listen to Nokia, it's at number 8 or whatever. But like the only time we talk about Drake now is talking about this lawsuit. And when you talk about the lawsuit, you just have to talk about Not Like Us. You just have to keep talking about this song. Like he's like, please don't think about a purple rhinoceros. Don't think about it. And everyone's thinking about a purple rhinoceros over and over and over again. And his lawyers, and then UMG, they're like having fun with it. They're writing lawsuits. I mean, I know they throw in the bits about like, you know, Rappaport and Barstool and all that and Bumblebee Tuna and a bunch of weird stuff. But they wrote that whole thing for YouTubers. Like they're doing song quotes and they're like tying things together. I mean, like I don't know how many of you have done videos. I think I've probably watched all of them. Like it's like jazz. Like you're playing with these lawyers who are giving you this information and like you're playing along, and like he just keeps playing himself over and over again. And all we can do is think about Not Like Us. He is forcing us to just never stop.
He's done more promo for Not Like Us than Kendrick has.
Absolutely.
Where's Meet the Grams? And all of this conversation, that is still to me the most harmful to his reputation.
We know why he didn't put that in there.
Because you know, I just be trouble. I be starting shit.
Shout out to the Ville. He was in the comment section earlier. The Ville be keeping me updated. That's his beat. That's his beat right there. And yep, we know why. 1 second applause.
Culture united. Our culture united. Our culture united. Our culture united. Connecting all over the world. 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 Connecting all over the world.